Hello everyone, Violet here, and today we are going to be doing a summer solstice collective reading. And I believe the summer solstice is this week on Wednesday, and I'm quite looking forward to it. We are at a log cabin and kind of celebrating as a family. And so for this reading, I have worn my floppy hat in honor of summer. I've got a mango kombucha in honor of summer. And the two decks that we are going to be using is the Sacred Earth Oracle and the Star Spinner Tarot. And I was thinking about how the solstices are very much about the Earth's relationship to the sun. So that's why we've got this kind of earthy element. And then of course, the sun is our personal star. So we're using Starseed Oracle. So I'm really excited for you to see this spread, and if you like it, by the way, it will be available on Monday, so tomorrow we'll do some solstice readings leading up to the solstice. From when this video goes out on Sunday, it'll be tomorrow. So if you want to get this personal for yourself, it will be available, and otherwise, let's get into it. So we have created a sun, we've created a wheel of cards with our quartz in the middle, and this is focused on kind of two halves of energy. I'm thinking about the sun energy as being this like powerful output, inspiration, calling us for action, kind of also fueling us. And the two halves of the coin, if we're gonna kind of look at this as an altar, this would be the more feminine side here, this would be the more masculine side here. So these cards are going to be more so about how we fuel ourselves and how we fuel our energy. And this side is going to be about how we are called to shine, how we're called to be using that energy into the world. And we've got a mixture of oracle and tarot cards, but the two tarot cards that are on kind of either side straight up and down are about bridging the gaps. So let's dive into it. It was interesting because we got these two cards in terms of how we fuel ourselves. By the way, this being a collective reading, please let me know what you resonate with. If you are here during the premiere and chat, hello. And if you're watching this later on, hello, welcome. Feel free to share any of your thoughts in the chat or in the comments. But yeah, we're tapping into the collective here, so take what resonates, leave what doesn't, of course. But two very interesting and beautiful energies for how we, oh wow, that's so cool. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna get into it, but how we fuel ourselves and some advice perhaps. We've got influence and we have potential. And what I just now noticed was that in both of these, there's kind of this central kind of small, here it's like a face around the heart. It almost feels like a little like an inner child self sort of hiding right there. And this one is a bird also with a little heart, but being cared for, looks like being nurtured. So I think there is definitely a message here, just looking at the images, about caring for that inner, most vulnerable part of yourself. Because that most vulnerable part also carries a lot of power, carries a lot of heart power. Your inner child is also in a way like fuel for your whole life. We're constantly returning back to our experiences as a child, what we learned, you know what I mean? So really caring for, even sort of bridging time and caring for that inner child is so important to return to again and again throughout life. So there's definitely a message for nurturing, self-nurturing here. But in terms of influence, I wanted to start with this card actually, because this card is a lot about what we surround ourselves with. So you might notice that the media you consume, the energies of other people that you're around, whether you're choosing to be around them or you're obligated to be around them, or, you know, even the influence of the space and the environments around us and kind of the vibes that they carry, this all becomes a part of what we carry in our aura and in our energy field. And this is something that very much affects our own personal energy. And oftentimes, I think that we might think more so about our energy and how it projects outward and less about how other things are projecting inward. At least that's something that I do a lot, is sort of, in a way, it's kind of like self-blaming, like, oh, I'm in this whatever state, I'm projecting it out, but without realizing, like, well, what brought me here? What have I been consuming recently in terms of who even knows? Social media, entertainment even, and what people have I been around or talking to. Not to put everything in a negative light, because this is also about what fuels us and what sustains us. So I think that you can also look at this as, how can we gear ourselves towards letting things influence us and be around it. We know that they're going to influence us just right off the bat, so letting things be around us that very much nurture us or even counter. Let's say that we have someone that we have to be around and it's just an obligation, it's just like a part of what we have to do, then maybe we can counter that with some sort of like healing, calming music, something to kind of raise our spirits, raise our vibration, and that is part of influence. We're like sponges, we're constantly taking things in. There are also techniques for kind of, finding ways to guard your energy field against certain things, and maybe having sort of a semi-permeable barrier where you choose what you allow in and you block some other things out. But I think it all starts with the awareness, really. The awareness of the influence of other energies around us and what they do to us. So starting with the awareness, it becomes more and more clear with how to handle that. So that is part of our fuel. That's part of what we are drawing from. The other part, this feels a lot more personal. This card, your potential, this almost feels like your very essence that you came into this life with. That it's this drive, it's this will, it's this tug, this pull, this potential of what can become, what you can imagine, maybe what you've set out here to do. So we can't exactly connect with that so logically and directly up front, because in a way we've come here and we've forgotten. But we have this within us, especially, I'm pointing to the heart, which is important, also the solar plexus. We've got this tug, something that draws our will towards something. And I feel like it's like this potential energy, this potential of what can we become, what can we accomplish. And I think that sometimes, at least with me, it's easy to get down about the fact if I'm not being very outwardly productive or something, just simply getting down on that fact, rather than looking within first of all and saying, okay, well actually maybe I need to be quiet now, because maybe I need to get reacquainted with that inner sense of purpose, that inner compass, that direction, that inner imagining. Because this almost feels like a very quiet energy, but a powerful one. I see how she kind of has her hands ready to do something. There's something that it just feels like, again, it's that potential power, but there's a softness here. There's a dreamlike quality. And it's like we dream the things before we do them. So how can we give more to that space? So, let's see what our main tarot card is for this side. So it is the Four of Coins in reverse. And to me, this feels like it has a lot to do. Pardon the shadows, by the way. I've got this candle right here, and the lighting in the cabin is just totally different than in my other spaces. We're gonna let it be okay though. The Four of Coins kind of feels to me like breaking certain patterns and certain things that we've gotten comfortable with that actually might be sort of wearing on our gears. If you think about we're constantly moving and we're constantly using our gears in a certain way, it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something mechanical. Like if you always had the weight on one side of a car, those wheels on that side are gonna get ground down faster than the other side. So there can be imbalances that happen just simply because of things always happening the same sort of way. So I feel like in terms of getting back into our energy and back into feeling fueled so that we can go for what we want to go for, getting out of our routines in some ways. And you know what? Doing that too can also show us how certain things might be influencing us that we don't even realize are influencing us. Certain things that we've just kind of let be a part of our day to day because it's just how it's been. At this point, we've gotten so comfortable in it, we don't realize how much it influences us. Versus when you sort of go out of your way to do something new and something different, maybe something not as comfortable, or maybe a path less taken, you know, or go into a different environment, you're going to feel yourself being more fueled, your well is going to be refilled, and that is a beautiful way to get into some of this energy. And maybe from this new perspective too, we can get in touch with our potential in a different way than when we were just kind of exposing ourselves to the same things each day. So that's really how that card feels to me. Okay. So now we're going to take a look on the other side of our sun, and then lastly we'll look at the bridging cards. But in terms of how we shine, how we, like what we're called to express out into the world in a more like external sun action energy sort of way, it's very interesting because both of these feel like almost like receptive cards. We have perception and we have ready but waiting. So I wonder how we can kind of break this down. I think it'll be very interesting in terms of this external force, this more like masculine side of the coin, like we were saying. So, perception. I think that by putting ourselves out there, and once again, just like on this side when we're refilling our well by breaking our routines and habits, when we are exposing ourselves to different ideas and different energies, and we are exercising our perception. We're learning as we're doing. So thinking about action, as we're doing, we're learning. And it's okay to not, have a full grasp on how everything, what all the answers are, or what we're even good at, what our talents are. If we start doing the things, we're going to start perceiving from them better. And we're going to start seeing what resonates more or less. There's also something here that I felt about perception. And I'm looking at this third eye. I'm going to just bring it up close. There we go. There's this shell spiral in the third eye there. And I feel like it's talking about how our perception is valuable. It's how the universe is expanding and learning. So this might be something we forget sometimes. Our experience in the world, it's adding to that fabric, that mandala, that expansive energy of the universe that's wanting to discover itself and express and create. And we're part of that. So our experience is literally a thread in the fabric of this universal blanket that's just being expanded upon and built upon and built upon. And I think sometimes we might have the tendency to think that we have to find the right way of seeing things, or like align ourselves in such a way of ways that have already been, or like this is a system of thought and I'm going to just go ahead and fall in line with that. But this is more so, I think, about trusting your perception and your creation of understanding of what's around you as a very powerful and a very integral part of the process of the universe expanding itself. So once again, since this is the masculine side and this is the expansiveness, this is the creative, inspirational outpouring force, this is really important. And we often kind of don't value that, I think, as much. So that felt important to say. And ready but waiting. I feel like this has to do with timing. And it has to do with a recognition that everything that you put out has a right time and a right place to do so. And maybe getting in tune with your perception of things and the influence and the potential. All of the cards kind of lead to using this one wisely. Being ready but waiting for the right moment. When is the right time to put my ideas out there? When is it time to more so nurture it for myself and start, expressing myself, but letting it be for myself, and then finding the time when maybe spirit says, or I just feel it, or, other people are calling me to do it, to say, okay, now is the time to put it out into the world. But there's the sense of being ready but waiting. So not being stagnant in the in-between time when you're not sure. There's a difference between resting and stagnancy, because resting is also part of being ready. Did you notice here that there is a little dove, just like in this one? So there's a sense of nurturing with both of these cards, which is quite beautiful. And I also wanted to say there's a connection between this card and potential. It's like, once again, it's like two halves of the same idea. Having that potential, having that dream, preparing for it, working on it, being ready, but then waiting for that right moment to push it out. So, yeah, I wanted to point out the beautiful relationship with these cards. There's also a very similar hand gesture happening with these two, potential and perception. So that's kind of interesting. It almost reminds me of how like someone might look if they're about to pick up a paintbrush, or they're about to start like playing the harp or something like that. Oh, wait. See, there's the hand. I was looking at it myself and not showing you, and there's the hand. Yeah, you see that? I don't know. It looks similar to me. So our main tarot card on this side is the Three of Chalices. And this is about connection, and this is about community. And there's this beautiful coming together and this gorgeous like hug that is happening. And I think that's the thing, is that this side is the reason why we take things externally and we push them out into the world, is to be able to connect to others and hey, go back to this, influence others, not in a manipulative way, but more so in like, once again, adding to the music, adding to the fabric of the universe. But what I wanted to say about this is that they're all three different, they're different shades. There's just this feeling that I wanted to say about, like, once again, your individual perception being important, is that the coming together in community happens with people who are all individuals, and they all have their individual perspective and perception. And the beauty of that, you wouldn't want to listen to an orchestra of all the same instrument all playing the same note. Although it sounds like a very interesting experiment, like maybe you'd want to listen to that as like, sort of like a counter to other ways of listening to orchestra, sort of like a thought experiment, like modern art kind of thing. I'm not sure. But what I'm saying is that the diversity and the variety of ideas and perspectives and cultures and all of that, that's what makes life so rich and so interesting. So once again, embracing your individualness as you connect with others is, I think, a really important message here. So in bridging the gap, we have the King of Swords reversed. And this feels like, in a way, getting out of your own head and not letting just your logical mind rule you. That's how I'm reading this. So I think that oftentimes, as we are kind of gathering the energy to do something that we feel called to do, becoming clear on our vision of what it is that we want to do, We can find ways to get caught up in the details, the nuances, the questions, the unsureties, all of those mental things, all of that realm of swords in the tarot, and maybe end up getting caught in between. And this is about not getting caught in between, right? And I also think that this card, the Seven of Wands, is about defending our energy. So kind of what we were talking about earlier, like letting in what influences we want and keeping out the influences that we don't, what feels right, what resonates with us, and what doesn't, what isn't ours. This feels like the importance of keeping that strong so that you don't have some point in your energy field that's draining into some direction that you don't realize, like your energy is being drained or being even taken. You know, there are people who literally will take energy. So it's having defenses against that, but in a smart way, because this is 7. This is a certain kind of challenge to overcome, and it feels like energetic discernment. So not getting too caught up in the mentality of it, but more so in the energy of it, and protecting our energy and our energy field in order to be able to do what it is we want to do and connect to people in a way that is healthy and productive, and not in a way that's going to drain us and make us unable to continue doing that. So that, I'll pull these out now. That is our spread for the summer solstice, and I hope that you got something out of this reading. And if you would like to have this particular spread for yourself, we are going to do it tomorrow on stream, so hit that notification bell. And otherwise, thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe. Also, shout out to anyone watching this as a premiere. I love you all. And I hope that you have a wonderful summer solstice. And I think that this can also be applied in December when it's the summer solstice on the other side of the world, because my intention with this was thinking about this year, the summer solstice this year. So I'm just gonna throw that out there that maybe this applies later on too. So we'll see. Let us know if you're in the southern hemisphere and you're watching in December of this year. But otherwise, thank you all so much. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening or season, all of it, and I will see you soon.